Good morning. Today is July 8th, 2026, and I'm here with Leo Osborne in his art studio on Guimas Island. So, just to open up, Leo, can you tell me your full name, your birthday, where you were born?
Let me get the statistics correct.
Okay.
It's Leo Yule Osborne. That's the middle initial E. I was born in 1947 in Marshfield, Massachusetts. Marshfield's about 20 miles from Plymouth, near Cape Cod. And that was my beginnings there in Marshfield. I spent my first 5 years with my parents living at my grandmother's farm.
Oh, what did they raise?
On the North River of Marshfield. So, I was raised on a farm with chickens and sheep and, all that good stuff. I had a goat named Mary. It was my goat. And I had a bunch of ducks that were named after characters in Howdy Doody, because that was a popular TV show. Clarabelle, all those good ones. Anyway, that's where I started. And we moved to Pembroke after that, which was a neighboring town. And I was always drawing, and my mother really encouraged me to draw. She had loved painting as a youngster herself, and I was carrying on that tradition, I suppose. So that was great to have that encouragement, and I did draw a lot. I was also very active in sports, all kinds of sports. I was really into it. I had good eye and hand coordination, and so I was good at ball sports. And I was very involved with sports as a youngster. But when I got into junior high and high school, my interests really were with art, and I really wasn't interested in playing sports anymore. Particularly, I didn't really care for the characters that were on the sport teams. And so I never went to the gym class. Never signed up for it. They never knew I was even there. So I didn't have to take gym, and I worked it out so that I had enough credits in my senior year to graduate. I'd taken typing and other things to fill in credits. And so in my senior year, I only had to do English, and I had the rest of the day free. So I would spend it in the art room. So I had like 5 hours of art every day. During that time, I got a scholarship for a art school in Minneapolis, a correspondence course. In fact, you might recall there was these competitions called Draw Me, and you'd find them in TV guides and matchbooks. And that was what I entered. I did a competition and won the scholarship to be part of this correspondence school. So during my high school years, I was doing that correspondence work in the art room. I also got to know the junior high art teacher who had a pottery wheel in their room, so I would go down there and throw pots and do different things with clay. He was an impressionist painter himself and taught to make a living. So I would occasionally on a Saturday go to his home studio and watch him paint. So that got me very interested in painting too. So I had all of that going on during high school, and graduated with a portfolio of work that I could then present to an art school in Boston, which was about an hour away from us. And so I did get into New England School of Art, which was a commercial art school. I figured if I was going to do art, I had to make a living at it. So I figured commercial art was the only recourse to take. And it was a great school. All of my teachers were fine art painters who lived up in Gloucester, and again, helping their income by teaching in the winter. So I was in this commercial art class, but learning to paint with these great painters. So I ended up wanting to be a painter. I didn't really want to do commercial art, but that was a way to make a living. And those were my teen years in art school. I had become a hippie by then, just hung out with a wild crowd. I had grown up in a family that, well, we were bigoted, I guess I would just say. My two older brothers that were twice my age, they were already grown and gone when I appeared in 1947. They were both bigots and were afraid of black people.
Oh my.
And I had never had any contact with any other culture than the white people that lived in our town. So I deliberately, when I moved to Boston to live for my second year of art school, I had been correspondent, driving back and forth. I lived in Boston and deliberately lived in a black neighborhood so I could learn that culture. And wow, it just opened my eyes to another world of life, of reality. So I had that going for me. It was the mid-60s. I was part of the Boston street marches for civil rights and humanity.
Oh boy.
And then the Vietnam War started, and I was marching in protest against the war. I was a long-haired hippie, smoking dope and living life. And I became a draft dodger. I had a plan, and my plan worked, that they didn't want me in the Army. And it was kind of the old Arlo Guthrie theme of going into the draft physical. I was at the time living on Cape Cod painting. Wow. I'd had my first show as an artist on Cape Cod in a little civic theater. And I was fishing to help supplement my income. And so I went to my physical smelling like a 3-month-old codfish out of the water. And that was the beginning of their not wanting me. And I convinced them that they didn't want me. It just wasn't going to be a good match. So I didn't have to go to the draft.
Yeah.
Didn't go to Vietnam. So I stayed in Boston and painted. I met my first wife, Lee Madsen, in art school, and eventually, after a lot of life together, moved to Maine. And we bought a place, or we bought some land 2 miles in the woods on a closed dirt road. We could drive the road, but it was pretty rustic, and I built a geodesic dome. Being a hippie, had to do that. We had lived in California for 3 months and 1 summer, and got these plans for a dome made out of plywood. So we built that and lived in the dome out in the woods for 2 years. Eventually we had to walk in and out. In the winter we skied in and out. And it was quite an experience living off the land. And we felt great because here we were hippies that wanted to live off the land, and we did it. So it was cool. It was great. But then came time that we had to figure out how to make a living and move off the land. We moved into Rockland, Maine, got an apartment, and I started sign painting, which I hated. I hated to do lettering in art school. It was just a real pain. But as it turned out, it made me a living. So I was making painted signs, and one weekend we took a trip to New Hampshire for a getaway, and I saw these wooden carved signs and was really impressed and thought, I could do that. So I went home, bought some wood and bought a chisel, and made my first carved wooden sign for a restaurant in Camden, Maine. During that time I also learned to do gold leaf work, because the lettering wanted to be gold leaf and that very specific look. So I learned how to do that. I was pretty much self-taught in a lot of areas. And I was fortunate during those years in art school. When I was living in Pembroke at my folks' home the first year, a neighbor had just moved in, and he was a graduate from the Museum School of Art in Boston, and he came to live next to us to be the art teacher at the high school that I had graduated from. His name was David M. Carroll, and David later became known as the Turtle Man of New England. He was really into turtles all of his life, drew them, painted them, wrote about them, and had probably published 10 books about the natural world. So I had that influence too, of this neighbor, of teaching me about the natural world. We'd go on walks around the pond that we lived on and look for turtles and fish. And it was great to have his influence.
Oh.
So he was a great mentor during that time. Also, I was underage, but he taught me to enjoy Guinness Stout and oyster stew and exotic things that had not been part of my previous lifestyle. So it was great. He taught me how to make my own hand-bound books.
Wow.
He wrote poetry. I began to write poetry. His wife, Laurette, was also a poet and an artist. So we had this wonderful union. It was really great and inspiring for all of us. Anyway, back in Boston, I left art school wanting to be a painter. And we moved to Maine. We were there in the Dome. Eventually had to find work as a painter, as a sign painter, and then as the sign carver. That got me into wood carving. And one of the signs that I did for a family, they wanted a fox on top of this oval sign. So that was my first carving of an animal, something other than a real dimensional sculpture. And that began to create in me a desire to sculpt. So I met with a decoy carver, and I met with a young man who carved wooden songbirds, very detailed. And I worked with him for a couple of days to show me the tools and how he used them, little knives and wood burners and such. And I began carving little wooden songbirds. In fact, I have the very first one. The first bird that I carved was this sea duck, carved out of a Maine lobster buoy. I was working, fishing at that time, harvesting Maine mussels. This was in 1972.
My goodness.
And then I began doing these detailed carvings. This is a little yellowthroat carved in basswood, mounted on a piece of driftwood.
Yeah.
So it was quite detailed. It got all the little feathers and bobs in it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Very detailed. But they began evolving into even more detailed birds, some of which are around here in the studio. And I got interested in competitions that were happening in the East Coast, particularly in Maryland. There was a group called the Ward Foundation. The Ward brothers started it. They were decoy carvers in Maryland, and this whole genre of detailed bird carving started to blossom. So I would go to those with my detailed songbirds, started to win competitions. I met some other wood carvers who were also desiring to be fine artists. So we began doing things where we would mount these birds instead of on pieces of driftwood, we put them on pedestals, elongated pedestals with grasses growing out of them, just different things other than the simple carved bird. We were creating a sculptural form and trying to elevate that whole bird carving genre, which we did, and it's still going strong today. So I began doing these detailed birds, showed them all around the East Coast, won competitions. Eventually I started sending them to museum shows as far away as Wisconsin. Was one of the first ones that I did of any distance. And that was called Birds in Art at the Lee Yawkey Woodson Art Museum. And that show was juried, and they accepted 100 works from all over the world. And it was just amazing, the people that I met going to that.
Wow.
Bob Bateman, who lives up here in Canada, was one, and just the list went on and on. Roger Torrey Peterson. I mean, it was amazing, amazing the people I got to meet through that. Anyway, that show, Birds in Art, I did over my lifetime, 22 years. I was juried into that show, which was phenomenal. I was also part of the Society of Animal Artists, which again had a yearly competition or yearly exhibition in which awards were given. And I began to win awards in that, and if you won 5 awards of excellence, you became a master artist in that society, which I did become. And back in those days, I think Bob Bateman was the only other master artist during that early period, and a couple of old-timers that were part of it too. So it was really a wonderful organization to be part of. They were based in New York. So I'd go to New York to be part of those shows, and I did a lot around the East Coast. I eventually had a gallery in New York that showed my work. And yeah, it just kept growing and blossoming from there. And winning competitions continued to keep me in the forefront of the bird carving world. Eventually, I found that I wanted to do more than just the detailed birds. And I was inspired, again, by going to these bird shows and seeing other artists that were just working in solid wood, walnut, cherry, and carving stylized work. So I became very interested in that and began doing work in burl wood. I met a guy that would send me burls from California, redwood burls, and they'd arrive on a big pallet and select pieces that I would work with. In the meantime, I was still doing my detailed bird carving, and in those shows in Maryland, I met a bird carver of decoys who lived in Louisiana in the bayous, Tim Zuninga, and he would send me chunks of Tupelo wood. Tupelo is very dense wood. It's a soft grain, and there's virtually no grain to it. You can carve in any direction without the grain disturbing you. So he would send me these chunks of Tupelo that he would harvest himself, and from the Tupelo trees, where Tupelo honey comes from. And he would send me chunks of wood 3 feet long by a foot square. Now, most people would wrap them in paper and UPS them, not Tim. He would write my name with a magic marker and address, postal address, staple a bunch of stamps on it, and mail them to me. I'd get a call from the post office saying, "Leo, you've got another one of those really strange postcards here that you need to come pick up." I mean, it was great. We had some crazy times. So I was getting all of this wood delivered to me in Maine. We were living on the Maine coast. And I began doing the redwood burl carvings. So the next year, I went down to Maryland and entered the award competition again with detailed work as well as a redwood burl swan that had his head turned back, resting. I think it was called Gentle Rest. Well, damned if I didn't win Best in World that year, which was like crazy cool. Yeah, wow. It was extraordinary. And I mean, that was cool because I was competing against Japanese artists and all over Europe and Africa, and it was a powerful period. And so I had a lot going on during that time. A couple years into that was when the Valdez oil spill occurred. And I was in the middle of carving 3 shorebirds in their nesting season. There was one sitting on the nest, there was going to be one feeding, another one with its wings out. They do this real heavy flapping thing as a mating dance. So I'd gotten 2 of the birds carved when the Valdez spill occurred, and I had friends in Maine that were trying to send equipment to Alaska, and were going through all of this hideous red tape trying to do it. So I was getting daily reports about the horrors that were going on. So I decided to turn this sculpture from a quiet nesting site to one that had been ruined by oil. So the 3rd bird that I carved, I had 2 of them done. The 3rd bird was laying on its back with its wing up in the air. And when I got the whole piece beautifully carved in maple burl wood, I took a caulking gun and squirted. It was kind of like one of those 60s happenings, where I took this black, oozy crud and squirted it over this beautiful, pristine wood carving. And that one bird engulfed in oil. And I called it Still Not Listening. We were not listening to nature. Well, I took that piece to the world competition. And what happened was a Japanese woodcarver, Mr. Haru, was looking at the piece with his interpreter, and he started crying. And I went up and introduced myself to the interpreter, and here's the piece titled Still Not Listening. And this Japanese master artist who didn't read English looked at his interpreter and said something, and the interpreter said, Mr. Haru just said, "We must listen to the bird songs." I thought, wow.
Yeah. You touched his heart. You touched his heart.
Yeah, I really touched his heart with that, and he touched mine. So we both embraced, we were both crying by then. It was just this intense moment of art going past all boundaries, language, everything. And after that event, about 2 months later, I got a letter from Mr. Haru asking that piece come to Japan for a 4-year tour of art museums there. Wow. So that happened. Just these wonderful moments in my life that were created through art. It's just astounding things that were really worthwhile. So I continued in that vein of bird carving, was living in Maine, and we, of course, were no longer in the Dome. I had built a little salt box, Cape Cod in Rockport, Maine, and we were living there. That's where we had our daughter, Rachel. And Lee and I spent 19 wonderful years together, but then we divorced. And it was, both of us were ready for a change in our life. We had married young. Anyway, same old story. So that happened, and Lee is still living in Maine with good friends still, which is great. And I, during that time in Maine, had been gifted with a book by a sculptor from Washington, D.C. He said, "You're going to really connect with this book, this artist. His name is Philip McCracken, and you guys work a lot alike." So I got the book and was really moved by the work and by what Phil had to say about environmental art, etc. And that began a 10-year annual letter correspondence with Phil from Maine to Guaymas. And so we'd send just what we were doing in the studio, maybe a photograph or something, and exchange bird feathers. He'd send me the feather of a red-tailed hawk, and I'd send him a Maine raven or something. It was just one of those things we did. It was cool. So the years went by, and I eventually moved to Oregon. I'd been working in bronze by that time. I had started bronze casting in a little foundry in Owl's Head, Maine, with this crazy metallurgist who did every aspect of the casting process. And we did some crazy shit together. Like, I'd carve things out of white styrofoam, real thin, hollow them out. We'd bury them in foundry sand. He did sand casting. And we'd pour the metal in, it would melt out the foam and leave us with a bronze casting, or aluminum casting. Yeah. So we did a number of major pieces that way, and it was a cool experience. But then I learned about the lost wax casting process, again from this friend of mine in Washington, D.C., who had sent me Phil's book. And he was casting his bronzes in this little town of Joseph, Oregon, way up in the mountains, about as far away from Washington, D.C. as you could get. But he said their work is extremely wonderful, and their prices are probably a third of what we would pay So I started sending work there to be cast and eventually moved there. At the time, I also met a woman who lived in Joseph. She was a sculptor and painter named Terry Malick, and we eventually married. And we had a home and studio there in Joseph and a gallery space on Main Street. It's a beautiful little town way up in the mountains. And there were 3 art casting foundries.
In Joseph?
In this town,
Wow.
this little mountain town.
Yeah.
And it was weird how it all happened, but it did, and they were extraordinary. So we did work there. And one day in the studio, I was working on an 8-foot tall bird in flight, which became known as Windsong, which is the sculpture that's over at the park in Anacortes. And this man and woman came into the studio. His name was Jack Papritz and his wife Marie from Anacortes, introduced themselves, and he said, "This sculpture needs to be in Anacortes. In fact, you need to come to Anacortes. We do an art festival every year that you need to be part of," which Jack had helped formulate. Yes. So that was my first connection physically with Anacortes. And I've been writing those letters to Phil, but we've never met. So a year or 2 went by. I was living in Joseph, and I had a show that I was participating in at the Tacoma Art Museum. So I called Phil, and I said, "Hey, what's the chance of meeting?" He said, "Come up and spend the weekend." So Terry and I came to Anacortes, got on this little ferry, which just, the moment I did, I felt I was going home. Living in Maine, I lived on Penobscot Bay, which is filled with other small islands. And one of the islands in particular is 10 miles off the coast. It was reachable by an old lobster boat that had been turned into a 1-vehicle ferry. And there were actually no vehicles on the island other than the few that had been transported there. It was the name. Anyway, on this island, we went and spent the night. This was back when Lee and I were together. And we spent a night on the island, and it was known for its artists. And one of the artists that lived there was Jamie Wyeth, and another one, Don Stone, had been an instructor at my former art school in Boston. I didn't have him as a teacher because he left prior to my coming in, but he had moved to this island and lived there for a number of years, kind of reclusive, doing his painting. He would sell to tourists that would come in the summer. And I thought, wow, that's what I want to do. Live on an island, just paint and sculpt and make it work. So here's Terry and I coming to Guimas on the Guimas ferry, and I'm feeling like I'm going home. So we had a wonderful weekend with Phil, and I met Anne, who just won my heart. I had continued writing my poetry over those years, and Anne instilled within me that poetic desire even more so. So we spent the weekend, had a great time, went back to Joseph, came back a month later. We were so excited about Guimas Island. And we're driving around, and I thought, we need to live here. So I saw this one house that I really liked the looks of. It was kind of like the bow of a ship. It turned out to be owned by Kid Marcinko. So I stopped at his house, went up to the door and knocked. This young woman came to the door, and I said, "By any chance would this house be for sale?" And she said, "Well, oddly enough, the man who owns it, who's in town right now, has been talking about selling it." And she said, "Come on in. I'm left over from a party last night, and there's still a couple open bottles of champagne if you'd like some." I said, "Okay, give me a little bit." And I'm still driving. I'm heading to the ferry. She said, "Well, he's coming back on the next ferry." And I said, "Well, I'm leaving on the next ferry." So I got his phone number. When I got home, I called and talked to kit? And he said, yes, I'm thinking about selling. So we talked for several weeks and came up with some pricing and blah, blah, blah. I came back to Guimas on the prescribed weekend where we were going to make the sale, sign the paperwork and get it done. I got here and met Kit at his house, and he had this long, drawn face, and he said, I can't do it. I can't sell it. I can't move here from here. He said, my studio's here too. I'm gonna have my studio. Anyway, I was really upset. So I went back to Phil's. That was a Friday, and spent the night. Saturday morning, the telephone rang, and Ann picked it up, and she said, Leo, it's for you. I thought, for me? What? Who knows that I'm here? And it was Nancy Vogel, who was the island realtor at that time. That was in 1993. And she said, a place just came on the market and I hear that you're looking for something. Can I show it to you? Well, it was the house on West Shore that is now owned by Arlo Rumpf and Anya. And we bought it like that day.
Wow.
It was that quick. And within 6 months we were living here full time. Did the renovation on the house, and that's how I came to Guimas, and it was just wonderful. It was perfect. I loved every moment of being here. It was so creative. There were only like 600 people living on the island then. A lot of artists, poets, writers, songwriters, musicians. It was a wonderful creative experience. I had been into music when I was younger, being a hippie, where music was our mentor. And I even went to Woodstock, the original Woodstock.
Can you just elaborate on that a little bit?
That was crazy. We had this old Pontiac, 56 Pontiac, that, well, that's a long story of how we got that. We actually bought it in California when we were visiting here for those few months, and drove it back from the West Coast, drove it from Boston to Maine many, many times while we were building the dome. And we took that car, we were still living in Boston then with it, and that was the car that took my wife Lee and I and 3 other people to Woodstock. And it was just insane. It was, I mean, the traffic getting there was crazy. We got there and found a place to camp out, and it was wonderful for the first day or so, but then the rains happened and the mud came and people got crazy. We weren't quite that crazy, so we spent some time at the tent and then would go to the festival during the day. We didn't spend much of the nights there. It was just a little bit too out of it for us. And anyway, it was a great experience. It was amazing. I still remember Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, who did you hear? Yeah.
Oh God, it was just amazing to see and hear this incredible group of musicians from all over the world playing. You know, they were some of our heroes.
You saw them in the flesh.
Yeah, Joni Mitchell, I mean, it went on and on and on. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. It was great. It was just a wonderful moment to have experienced. I'm really glad we did.
Yeah, yeah.
It was a great thing. And I look back on it now at 78 thinking, pretty cool. I got to do all that crazy stuff. It was a great life.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I have no regrets on it whatsoever. So I came to Guimas and was sculpting. By then I was sculpting full-time, 12, 14 hours a day. It was nothing.
Wow, you were focused.
I was really focused.
Yeah.
And I wasn't painting. I had started as a painter, and that was my passion, but the carving just took me over, and I just was consumed for about 10 years, non-stop carving. And then I think when I turned 50, I thought, I'm not going to be able to do this carving all my life. It's hard work, very physical.
Yeah.
And so I thought I better start painting again. So I decided to paint on a style that would be unique unique to me. One of the things I loved when I was an art student in Boston was going to the museums of fine arts. And one of my favorite rooms was the Asian galleries, where there were these tea rooms that had been set up, beautiful, large, gilded scrolls of gold leaf with sumi painting on it. It was just a tranquil, meditative place to be.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, I really loved that, so I think I'm going to try painting on gold leaf, which I did. I took masonite panels, painted them red, because whatever color is under your gold illuminates through. So if it's red, it's a brighter undertone. And I learned that from studying the Japanese and Chinese art. So I paint the panels red. Then at the time I was using 24 karat gold leaf, little 4-inch squares of gold, do the whole panel in the leaf. And then I worked with acrylic paints that were watered down to be very thin. And that watery pigment on the metal created its own effect, water on metal. It was very different. And so I began painting. I figured this was a good thing to do, something I could do for the rest of my life. And that got me going painting. And I started showing with Scott Milo Gallery. At the time, they were just called the Frame Maker, and they weren't showing artwork. But a friend of mine that I'd met when I lived in Joseph, Oregon, by the name of Reuben Ettinger, he had been a dancer in his life, danced with Martha Graham, and he was a major dancer and choreographer. I met him in Joseph. He was doing framing at an art store in Joseph. And he'd been from Seattle, so he decided to move back to Seattle, after which he moved to Anacortes.
Oh.
Because we had remained friends. He knew of Anacortes and loved it up here, so he found a place, moved here, and he began doing framing at the Frame Maker for Kathy and Chris. And so during that period, he was framing some work for Al Currier, and Al wasn't going to be picking them up for a couple of weeks, so Reuben suggested to Chris and Kathy that they hang up those paintings in lieu of, nothing else on the walls. So they hung them up, and people started coming in and looking at the paintings being there, and they decided to be a gallery.
That is amazing.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So my old friend Reuben was the inspiration for that to happen. And I started showing there immediately with some of my gold leaf work. And they sold well, we did great. And yeah, it was just an amazing time. So I did that for a while, and then that was like in the 90s, and moved here in 93 with Terry, and in 1999 we divorced. And I just couldn't stay on the island.
Because she stayed?
She stayed.
Okay.
Terry stayed here with the horses. And my friend Reuben had married and moved to Ellensburg because his wife got a job teaching as a professor at the university. So I talked to, actually Reuben started a gallery there in Ellensburg and would carry my work, and I'd go over every couple of months and bring new work. And so when I divorced, he found me a place to live in Ellensburg. It was owned by a photographer and glass artist who she was going to move to California, to LA, to be with her 93-year-old dad until he passed away. So she moved there, and I rented her a little cottage in downtown Ellensburg for $250 a month, fully stocked with everything.
Yeah.
All of her art around me and everything. It was great. And I found a studio space in the old Derigold Milk Company building. Julie Prather was the name of the glass artist that I rented from. And so when she moved to LA, she made these beautiful stained glass lamps, one of which I have. They're extraordinary. So I said, Julie, you've got to find a gallery down there while you're there, because these lamps are worthy of fine art. Well, she called me one day and she said, I found a space and this woman really likes my work, and I took it in. I brought 3 lamps, and the next day someone bought all 3 of them. And his name is Anthony Hopkins, the actor. So that started Julie off on the right road.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was really cool. And in the meantime, Ruben had this gallery, Ambi Edinger Gallery, and I showed work there with Ruben, and he sold like crazy for me. It was amazing. And so that worked out really great, my moving to Ellensburg. Got the studio at the old milk company building. And one day I was listening to some old tapes that I had, and one was by Robin Williamson, who was a good friend of mine. He's a Scottish musician, songwriter. He started the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band
Oh, I love
in
them.
the 60s.
I love them.
Yeah, they were out of San Francisco. Well, that was Robin's first group.
Oh my.
Robin was a master of 30 different Irish and Scottish instruments, a songwriter, a storyteller, an absolute wizard of a man. Incredible, brilliant. So we were good friends, and whenever he'd come to Maine each summer for his concert, he'd come and spend a night with us and get out his Irish harp and play us tunes. It was pretty cool. So anyway, I was listening to one of his recordings, and the song was to Mr. Dylan, to Mr. Thomas. One of his mentors was Dylan Thomas. And I loved his work also. So I'm listening to this song to Mr. Thomas, and there's this line in it about Milkwood, Under Milkwood, from Dylan Thomas's play, Under Milkwood. And the thought just hit me, milk and wood. I'm a woodcarver working in a milk building. So hence the title Milkwood Studio.
Oh, funny.
Became my calling card. So that's how that all happened, the Milkwood Studio.
That's a good story.
It was really cool. It was great how that evolved. And you know, my life really has been an evolution. There was no plan. It's just kind of danced my way through life, go from one thing to another. I had a dear friend ask me once during a conference at a museum that I was part of a panel. He said, Leo, I've known you for 25 years and you've reinvented yourself like 5 times. How do you do that? I didn't know. I didn't know how to answer him. And in fact, it wasn't until years later I came up with the answer. I called Kent Olberg is his name. I called Kent in Corpus Christi, Texas. I said, I finally got an answer for you. I'm an explorer. You know, I'm an art explorer. That's simply it. I find something that intrigues me and I want to test the waters.
Yeah, you didn't settle. You just kept moving on.
Kept moving, exactly. And that's been the course for me over the years, just to move through these different venues. And just recently, this past year, I'd gotten away from detailed carving, but I had this one piece of Tupelo left, and I thought, well, I should do something with it. And you know, I have enough sculpture in my inventory that I really didn't need a lot more. And so I did this piece in Tupelo, a detailed carving of a chipmunk and a winter wren, which is a scene that I've had here at my pond.
Oh.
In late autumn, when the poppy seeds are dry, they'll come and eat the poppy seeds. And so there was this little rock by the pond that was covered with moss, and this chipmunk and wren would come to this rock and stealing my poppy seed. So I decided,
to show that since we're talking about it. I'll show right now.
It's time to do something again in this piece of Tupelo.
I'll do a better one of these later, but since we're talking about it, I want to show
Something
it.
that's detailed and would take me a long time to do. And so life's work.
That's
So,
part of your journey.
Yeah, part of the journey. So, I don't mind stepping back in time to something that I did 20, 30 years ago and using it today to tell the story. Because basically that's what I am. I'm a storyteller, whether it's in words of poetry, painting, or sculpting. They all have a story to them.
Well, I would say you're fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah, change doesn't scare you.
Doesn't scare
What
me.
it does for a lot of people.
Yeah,
This
it really
work,
does.
I'm going to stay with this.
Exactly. Some people paint one style and do that their whole life. It would drive me crazy. When I was a teenager, I had a job. I've done so many different crazy things. This was a job in the summer at a compass company. And I stood at a lathe making screws by the thousands all day long. The same monotonous movement on this lathe. And I thought, I can't do that for the rest of my life. This repetitive thing is not me. So that inspired me again over the years to not get stuck in a rut, to keep exploring, keep pushing myself. So anyway, we're back here on Guimas Island. I was divorced, living in Ellensburg. Terry was living here, and I had befriended a woman in Anacortes who owned a store called Mandala, and I went in there one day looking for some essential oils which helped me with tennis elbow that I would get from wood carving. And her name was Jane Lane, and she was this beautiful redhead that had this wonderful store filled with spiritual items and great music, just wonderful. She let people use the back room of her space for workshops, and it was just a great space. So Jane and I got to know one another. We liked one another very much. And she had been in a marriage that ended up in a divorce about the same time that I did. So when I'd come back from Ellensburg probably every 2 months just to visit the island, because I missed it terribly. It was my place of belonging, and I was torn away from it. So I'd come back, and that following spring, I called or emailed Jane. We had email then. I emailed Jane and said, would you like to meet for lunch? Sure. So I picked her up, and we went to La Conner, and the Morris Graves show was at the museum, which was just fabulous, wonderful, inspiring. And we had lunch at the Tav. That was our first date, and it was wonderful. It was really great to get to know one another at a more intimate level. So the months went by, and we kept emailing and writing and calling. And Reuben's wife, Joan, was having a birthday party, so I invited Jane to come over the mountain to this birthday party, which was in June. And she came over the mountain and spent 10 days. So that was the beginning of our formal relationship, and that was in 2000. And
Wow.
she moved in to Ellensburg with me. We spent a year and a half there. Really loved the community. The Derigo Milk Building had a lot of old freezers units in it, and they were heavily insulated. And the owner of the building rented these freezer units out to musicians that were at the university studying music. So they'd come in and they locked themselves in this freezer, and they'd rock out. No one heard a thing because it was all insulated. So there was like these 3 music studios in the building along with my art studio. And so I got to know all these young people, and Jane and I would get invited to their get-togethers and parties. And we were probably older then than many of their parents, but we were pretty hip.
You were a good hang.
And it was great. Yeah, it was really a cool time. So it was great. It was wonderful. We had a good time there. But we missed Anacortes, where Jane had lived for, I think it 15 years then. Anyway, we'd come over, we'd camp different places and spend the weekends here, and realized eventually that we had to move back.
This is home.
We just missed it, the environment, the culture.
Yeah.
As much as we enjoyed Ellensburg, we didn't like the weather and the environment there, although we did love the community. So we started looking for property in Anacortes, Whigby, all around the area, checking everything out. And one day there was a couple that we'd known from Oregon that wanted to come up and check out Guimas Island. So we said, well, we'll meet you and drive you around. I'll tell you some stories about it. And we did that. When we left the island, Jane looked at me and she said, you really want to be on Guimas?
Mm-hmm.
I said, oh my God, you're right. That's it.
It came through your stories to your friends and she interpreted that.
That was it,
yeah.
exactly. So we had left the island, had that talk, we decided to get back in the ferry line and just come back to the island. Well, we got in the ferry line and in front of us was Margie Houghton, who I knew, and Margie got out, we got talking, she said, what are you doing here? I said, well, I think we're looking for a place. She said, well, I've got a new place that just came on the market, let me take you over and show you. So it was this place here. And
That was kismet.
yeah, so we did it. I mean, I think we bought it like the next day.
Yeah.
And it was quick. It was in need of a lot of work, but the structure was sound. It had all new double pane windows and a lot of good things had been done to it. But it was in hard shape. It had been abandoned for a couple of years. Nothing worked. The washer and dryer were dead.
Mm-hmm.
Refrigerator was dead. And it was pretty gloomy to start out with. The next day after spending our first night here, Jane said, did we make a mistake?
Yeah. Buyer's remorse.
Yeah, it was intense there for a few days, but we realized what we could do with it. And Rick Petrick had worked on my other West Shore home, and so we hired Rick to make the studio and to do the outside of the structure with shingles and so forth, built some decks and blah blah. So that was it. We spent that year just reclaiming this place and doing all of the stucco on the walls. It was an intense project, but we knew this is where we wanted to be. It was our place of belonging, and it felt good. It was great. Great location, right next to the marsh, view of the water.
View close to the ferry, but not too close.
Yeah, it was ideal. It worked out good. So we bought it, and we've been here since 2001 to 2002. And it is definitely our place of belonging. We love it. It's been a great space for us, and we just love Guimas. We loved getting involved with the island back then. It was smaller. We did a lot for the community and creating dances at the hall.
Right.
We decorate the hall with all kinds of crazy stuff. And then there was the Woodchoppers Ball, which had been a tradition here on the island that we loved, and we attended that every year. And a few years into that, we decided that we should get legally married for tax reasons and all that other crap. And so we thought, well, where could we get married where all of our friends would be?
Could show up.
And we thought, the Woodchoppers Ball. That's where everyone we love will be. So we arranged it with Mike Ross that that ball that year would be a masquerade ball. And after the first set of music, we'd get married. And he was the only one that knew about this.
Yeah, I did not know you were doing that.
Nobody knew. It was top secret. And we didn't realize at the time that the first Woodchoppers Ball was centered around the marriage of Mike and Sue. So for Mike, this was way cool. It was going to be the second marriage at the Woodchoppers Ball.
That's a big deal.
And so we flew my daughter in from New York State, and Jane's daughter was living in Maui then, so flew her in. So the four of us were at the Woodchoppers Ball, dressed to the hilt. I was a pirate and Jane was pearly treasure from the deep Salish sea.
She looked beautiful.
She was cool.
Yeah.
And the dress she found was at a thrift store on Whidbey Island, and it was very pearlescent. It was an old dress created by a major stylist, and she actually paid $90 for it, which she thought was outrageous at a thrift store way back then.
Yeah.
But it was perfect. It was absolutely ideal. So I was a pirate and she was my seashell. And so the dress became kind of legendary. And I have to tell you that years went by that she kept the dress, and she decided that she was going to pass it on. So she gave it to Chantel to have at a store in town, Chili Rain. Well, our state representative,
Jeff Morris,
no, girl.
Patty Murray.
Who?
Patty Murray,
No,
state representative.
here in town. She lives here in town.
Oh, I know.
Hell.
Liz
Liz Lovett.
Lovett.
Liz went into the store and she saw the dress and she said, if I'm to get married, I want that dress, and told that to Chantel. Well, that night, her fiance asked her to marry, and she went back the next day and bought that dress.
Wow,
So
that's
that-
great.
Handed down, it was wonderful. It was a cool story. I don't know where it is now, but anyway.
It's probably
maybe
in
it's-
tissue paper somewhere.
Could be,
In her
someone
closet.
else will wear it.
Yeah, yeah. she
Anyway,
saved
it was
it.
a cool story how that all evolved, and we settled in Guimas and love it, and still love the Woodchoppers Ball. It's come back to its
Thank goodness.
original state.
Yeah, yeah.
It's really great. It's a great event.
Yeah, and it's fun to see Mike's kids be engaged in it and sew it,
Oh.
bringing all of that cadre of friends of
That's right.
Eugene's.
Full circle.
Yeah.
It's really cool to
Yes,
see.
it's lovely. Yeah, it's lovely.
And we have the stage there now too at the park where Jane and I enjoy now. We've got the Sunday music events again for the
Yeah,
summer. which
July and August
really
both. Yeah,
fun to go
yeah.
to. And it's a great island. It's wonderful. It's grown, have a lot of people. Sometimes that keeps us from some of the events because it was just too crowded for our particular liking. But yeah, it's awesome to see how the island has grown and evolved, and the people on it still cherish it for what it is. It's
Yeah,
real special.
yeah. We get it back in September.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It goes a little crazy in the summer.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We should have in Maine we used to have a party every fall right after Labor Day, which was welcoming the place back to ourselves.
Well, it's interesting how many, like both my boys, they went out in the world and did all, but they bought a place on Guimas too.
Right.
I mean, it is something special about it. It just calls you.
It does.
It's peaceful.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
spectacular. It's wonderful.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, let me just see. Okay, so one of my questions would have been about memorable people, and you've mentioned, Phil, and you've mentioned Mike.
Right.
Phil
Yeah.
brought you.
Yeah, it was the people that kind of brought us here.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
Phil
yeah.
and then Ann.
Yeah,
Kit Marcinko, who I became really great friends with over the years,
Yeah.
even though he pissed me off initially.
yeah. I was going to say you probably had to forgive him. It probably took a few years to forgive him for that, but then you could understand why he couldn't.
Exactly.
It was his heart.
That's right.
And even though when he moved over to town, he came here every day.
Yeah, every day.
Yeah, with his six pack.
Yeah, with a six-pack. It was great. It was wonderful. And
Yeah.
we got to know Banjo Eddie, Michael McGinnis. I mean, the list of endearing people that we've met here on the island. is
Characters, and everybody is a character in
Yeah.
their own way.
Yeah.
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 It's sad to look how many that we've lost.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
appalling.
it happens.
Yeah, when you talked about, doing art things, you're always going to be, you're an icon for doing the ghosts, like that went for years before I knew who did it.
Yes.
You know, I mean,
Yeah.
you did that in the dark.
I did
you
them
know,
in the
yeah.
dark, in between ferries.
Yes, yeah.
The
So,
ghost would just appear. That was wonderful. First saw that again in New Hampshire on a weekend trip from Maine. I was driving country road and there was this big old farmhouse with a huge maple tree in the yard, and there were like 9 of these white ghosts dancing around. I thought, oh my God, that's so cool.
so cool.
So I stopped and saw how they did
How you
them.
did it, yeah.
Pretty simple, it's just a stick and a sheet and some string. And yeah, so I started doing those. I did them in Ellensburg. Yeah, wherever I was, every Halloween the ghost would appear. So yes, for a number of years I did them on Guimas and nobody knew.
Nobody knew.
who did
Nobody knew.
It was really cool.
And you passed the baton.
I have passed the baton on to, well, I probably shouldn't say. I think people know though.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
good.
don't know, but you know, we won't,
Yeah.
unless, you know, they want to know.
Well, they'll figure it out.
Yeah, yeah, we'll
Just gotta
keep that.
keep the mystery.
Yeah,
going.
yeah, someday we'll interview that, whoever that is, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yes, they've been fun, and then we also, every Christmas, this was many years ago, we would make what we call the greeting tree. We'd find a big driftwood log at the beach.
Oh, right.
And support it upright, and then a bunch of us would clean the beach. We'd go from beyond Kelly's Point all the way down South Beach, collecting trash and junk and whatever needed to be picked up on the beach. And we decorate this tree with the trash. Leave it up throughout New Year's and then tear it down and take the trash.
And sometimes that tree stayed a long time.
A
You know,
long
the
time.
trash got taken care of, but it was
Yeah,
cool how
it
long it
was.
lasted, like there it still is. But
Yeah.
Leo, I did not know that was you.
Yeah.
I did
right.
not know.
No, a lot of things we've done mysteriously.
That's great.
So it's great fun to just kind of surprise people. that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And it's
cool.
good for everybody to pull together for some kind of, look what we did, look what we accomplished, yeah.
And the good thing is that now there's no trash on the beach anymore. Very, very little.
You think people are more cognizant?
I think so. Yeah, they're not throwing stuff in the water or off their boats, all of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think if any of us see anything, we pick it up because we think about it being eaten by, you know, an animal, like especially
Exactly.
plastic, you know,
Yeah.
like, so,
Truly.
yeah.
We're learning slowly. Yeah. We're beginning to listen.
Yeah, we're beginning to listen.
Ooh, that's a new sculpture.
You gotta think about that. I can see your wheels going. I can see your wheels. Okay, well, what I want to do is maybe you could just walk me around your studio.
Sure.
It's kind of like a gallery in itself, you know.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Really.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah. But before we do that, is there anything else you want to share?
I think I've pretty much covered everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
My main lifestyle and getting here and
Being
just
brave
loving it.
and being brave.
Being brave, yeah, it's important. Yeah, you gotta stand up for who you are. And
Yeah.
I learned that early on, that, you know, from, early life, just gotta be who you're gonna be.
Don't be
From-
afraid.
Yeah, from high school, just finding my own path through it, which I hated high school, but I found my
Well,
way
you
through it.
found a way to make it work for you.
Made it work for me, exactly.
Yeah.
Same thing when it came to the Vietnam draft.
Yeah.
I found my way of creating my own way out.
Exactly.
And on and on throughout life, it's been that way. It's cool.
It's very
I'm
cool.
grateful, very grateful.
Well, we're grateful to have you as a member of the Guimas Island community.
All right, we're grateful to have you, for sure.
All right.
Another one of the island characters.
Oh, I'm afraid so.
I'm afraid so too.
All right.
Lucky us.
Lucky all of us,
So-
right?
Here's an example, right here. Field Guide to Birds, Roger Torrey Peterson.
Oh, yeah.
Did all the illustrations, I mean, thousands upon thousands of bird illustrations. So talking with Roger one day at the Birds and Art exhibition in Wisconsin,
Wow.
I said, have you always been a bird painter? He said, well, I have, but what I really love is the paint impressionistically, but I've never been able to do that.
Oh,
Said I got into the genre of doing these bird books and that's all I've ever been able to do. So, as wonderful and as known as he was for what he was known for, in his heart, he really wanted to do something else.
But he
he
couldn't
just
move over.
Couldn't move over.
Yeah,
So I feel really grateful
yeah,
I
that you were
just
not afraid, yeah.
been
yeah.
on the move. Yeah, that's cool.
Now here's one of your beautiful little
A little
gold.
painting that
Oh,
will be in the Scott
Scott Milo
show
in September.
Yeah,
Nice.
exactly.
Oh, before we get too far, I do want to get this on tape, this picture. This is one of my very favorite pictures of our friend. And he actually had to create the lantern to get the whole effect, but it's just fabulous.
I'll move that so you can get a better view of it.
Okay, I'll come over here then. There we go. That has to go down as one of the best photographs ever.
Yeah, I could have made a major poster out of it.
You really could have. Yeah, could have. And is this something you did?
Yeah, yeah. That's a
Wow.
crazy piece. Those are mushrooms.
Yes.
That were not edible. When this mushroom, what are these called? Mushroom blocks grew, they were hard as plastic. They were unedible. So I kept it, and this is the foot off of a kelp that I found dried on the beach with the 3 kelp holes, and I sculpted the with clay the beak of this owl.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cool?
It is.
And then this log I found on the beach, I made all of these barnacles out of epoxy.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, they're really fun to do. They look like they take forever, but
They
pretty,
do.
They're pretty quick to do.
Yeah, well, this is really neat.
Isn't that funky?
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just like plastic. It was the weirdest thing.
Where'd you find that?
Well, Chi, who
Oh, okay, it's one of
grows
cheese.
the mussels, it was one of her logs.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, it malfunctioned. And
Turned into art. You turned it into art.
Turned it into art, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, more Guimas stuff. Fascinating.
This is an amazing piece.
That is one of the styrofoam castings done in Maine.
Oh, you
Yeah.
stopped. Well, I think it totally
Kinda
worked.
See, yeah, see the beading of the styrofoam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
very
amazing
cool.
how that works. So I carved it out of foam, we buried the foam in the foundry sand and cast that as one of a
And,
kind.
yeah, look at that pedestal.
Yeah, years later I decided to mount it on that pedestal.
Well, I think it works.
It works.
I know, I think it works.
Yeah.
And this is one of your recent pieces,
This is a recent painting.
and it will go in September.
That'll be in the September show.
I'm not sure if my camera's getting the color, but the color is beautiful. If
There's a lot of subtleties.
yeah, the color is amazing. So, I hope people will get to see it
Yeah.
in real life. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all kinds of stuff. These are
Wow.
my detailed work that when I was detailed bird carving, this Canada goose on the rock is all wood. Every little bob and feather,
And this is
basswood.
wow.
Yeah,
That I'm touching everything.
yeah.
Boy, look at those feathers. My gosh.
That took a year to make.
You can imagine.
It was a lot of work.
Wow.
But it's a wall sculpture. It's the bracket that allows it to hang on a wall, which looks really cool when you walk in the room and just see this
Oh, yeah, this
1,000-pound rock.
this rock
floating.
hanging on
Yeah,
a tree.
it's really-
I mean,
really
on the
cool.
wall. Look at this funny
Yeah.
little guy.
Yeah, little panache. That's kind of been my studio pet for many years.
He's great. It's okay. This is this accumulation of stuff.
Oh, so many pieces. It's just unbelievable of all kinds.
And that's very different from what you usually
Yes.
do.
Yeah. The Winter Princess.
Yeah. Let me see if I can get a close up of that.
Luna
There we go,
moths
there we go.
flying through her.
What is it?
Lunar moths.
Okay. Okay, moths. I see now.
Yeah. They're subtle too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that piece.
Yeah, because it's so different from your other stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we say, you're not afraid to get out of your one mode, are you?
Experiment. Yeah, you never know what's gonna come out next. That's what's exciting about it. That's been a challenge for galleries for me over the years, because most galleries want you to do the same thing over and over.
It's sold, I'd like one, something similar.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's been difficult to work with galleries because of that, because I never know next what's coming.
I think that's really cool.
So it takes a relationship. I've had wonderful relationships with galleries through that, because once they get to know me, that's what they're promoting. Not
Yeah,
just
an
the
artist.
style. They're
Yeah,
promoting the artist.
not just a style, yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating though.
You did these?
Yes.
Wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this is actually the foundry mold for this piece.
There we go. Oh my goodness.
That opens out. That's the same imprint
Yep.
that's in here.
Wow.
So the foundry makes the mold from the original. This is the rubber mold, and they make a mother mold to support the whole thing. They tip it upside down and they fill it with wax.
Oh,
So this whole thing gets filled with wax, so it has exactly this replication. And then the wax, they take it out of the mold, the solid wax, and the wax goes into a ceramic slurry, coats the whole thing. All of this is covered with ceramic slurry. It goes back, it dries out, it goes back into a furnace, and they melt, the furnace solidifies the ceramic shell, and the wax melts out, and so they now have basically the same kind of thing, but in ceramic rather than rubber. So they can pour the molten bronze 2,300 degrees into that. Take it out of the mold and you've got your finished bronze. It's an amazing process.
It is.
It's really cool.
Oh, that is just elegant. Just elegant.
It's Whistling St. Francis.
Yes.
That was the study for a life-size piece that I did.
Oh, really? A
Yeah.
study for a life-size piece. Where's
Yeah.
the life-size piece?
Well, there's actually one here in town at Pat Barrett's home,
Oh, cool.
and there's one at the Brook Green Gardens in South Carolina, which is the oldest sculpture garden in North America.
Oh, really?
I'm fortunate to have 4 pieces in their collection. I've been around.
Been around. Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. So this thing is how tall?
It's life size, it'd be 5 foot.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And it's
Okay.
designed so that the hands hold bird seed, and water is contained in the hood. And it's the life-size one is designed as an actual fountain, so water recirculates up through the piece into the hood and overflows. It's really, it's cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy sculpture.
Wow.
Yeah, that was a major.
That's a major piece of art. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
wow. So you kind of got into reptiles here for a while.
Yeah, I did. Actually, those were done when I was working with some galleries in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And some of my work was done in regards to the galleries, like in South Carolina, where I showed for 25 years. I did a lot of paintings of that type of scenery in the
Okay, it makes sense.
South Carolina
And that's what, yeah.
woodlands and
And this is yours too.
waterways.
And is this yours?
Yes, yeah.
Now, see, that's totally
Yeah.
different than what you do.
Caribou.
Caribou, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I would think that would be a bit, well, yes, here you have Alaska, yeah, because I grew up in Alaska. So here's a pelican
Yeah.
with the gold in the belly. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
That's cool.
Oops, sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Oh, that is really neat. Oh, that's lovely. I love the caribou, seeing the herds run.
Gosh, it must be spectacular.
It was, it was. And this is cool,
Yeah, that's another more abstract piece.
yeah.
It's called The Dancer.
I'm not gonna get much of a picture next to the sun, but
Yeah. But the grain really intrigued me on that. It's a piece of bark.
wow.
Yeah, it's old growth bark from Douglas fir. Strange stuff.
Oh, I can't, that's, it says, you may say, I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us, and the world will live as one.
That was gifted to me by a very dear friend who had a gallery in California that I worked with, Christina Stafford. A friend of hers in
That didn't show very well.
California was making those. It's all one piece of wire.
Yeah,
And she gave that to me because she knows that that's
you're a dreamer.
one of my favorite lines.
You're a dreamer.
The whole hippie thing is still going on. I'm still a dreamer.
Yeah.
Yep, and Christina, in fact, I'm talking to her today. She's now living in upstate New York, and she still represents me.
That's cool.
And yeah, we had a great run with her gallery in Hillsburg, California. That was really cool.
But California?
Hillsburg.
Oh, I've been there,
Yeah.
just because it's by the wineries.
Yes. Oh God.
Another painting that will be going into the Scott Milo.
Yep, it will be. As soon as I get it done. It's getting close.
How do you know, when you're done?
That's a good question. Yeah, I never know. You know,
You never know until you know.
until I know.
Yeah.
The way I looked at, especially wood carving, and now painting too, is that I have a dialogue with the medium. I'm not the master over the material.
It speaks to you?
It speaks to me. And that I really found true when I was doing the burlwood carvings, because you've got this gnarly, nasty burl that you've got to find something within, and then work together to bring that out of the wood. The same thing happens with my painting technique. When I first started painting again, as I said, it was on 24 karat gold leaf. But then the price of gold leaf went sky high. So I decided if I was going to continue painting in that style, I'd begin using composition gold leaf, which is this gold leaf. And it comes in these 5-inch blocks. There's no gold in it at all. It's all copper.
Oh,
But it looks exactly like the 24 karat. So I did my first painting using the 24 karat gold leaf, and got the whole thing done with the acrylics. It was this beautiful daytime scene, kind of in Charleston, with shorebirds running along and all that. And I put my sealer, I have this sealer, this golden polymer varnish. I put the sealer on it, and this particular sealer reacted to the copper and oxidized it. So within 2 minutes of putting the final sealer on this painting, it started to turn, the white bird started to turn pale green.
yeah, I was gonna say, turn green.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it started breaking through the gold leaf, revealing the red underpaint underneath, like this crackling was going on. I said, holy shit. And, this painting had to be in Charleston like in 2 weeks, and it was the feature piece of my show. So that was in Ellensburg. We left the studio that night just frazzled. Came back the next day and reworked it. And what had happened is that I was able to re-gild some areas. I did some more painting in places, and it became an evening scene rather than a daytime scene. And with all of these red hues breaking through, I mean, it was amazing.
Oh,
And it began a whole new process for me. Once again, an accident occurred, and I made the best of it.
yeah, you went with the flow.
Went with the flow, exactly. Well, the painting made it to the show in time, and it sold opening night.
Oh my goodness.
And it caused, well, I had no choice but to continue with that process. So I started, that was, I think, 25 years ago. I started working with this process. And again, it forced me to have a dialogue with the material. I didn't know how it was going to crackle and do these different changes. I had some idea, but I couldn't totally control it, which was perfect for me. I didn't want to be the controller. I wanted to have this dialogue going on with the painting like I had with the carving. So I began that process. I've explored it for 25 years. When COVID hit, the Golden Company could no longer get the materials that they were making their varnish with.
Oh my
They were
goodness.
from China, of course.
Oh.
So they sent me samples of the new varnish. It didn't work. It didn't oxidize. So I'd call artists that I knew that worked with acrylics and see if they had any of the golden varnish that they could send me. Well, I found little trickles here and there. I talked with the golden technicians for a year, trying to figure out how to make this stuff work. We tried ammonias and all kinds of different things, vinegars, different things to try to create the same effect, and we couldn't do it. So I thought, well, shit. I'm going to have to change my style again. And then
great.
one day in the mail came a box, this little box, golden varnish. It's full of these little jars of the original varnish that they found in a warehouse, and they just sent
And
it
they
to me.
gave it to you.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was.
So
that
you're
was
set
cool.
for a while.
I'm set. I hope for the rest of my life. I'm thinning it down with water to make it go as far as possible, just like life. Thin it down with water, make it go further.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh.
Okay, this is great. Okay. I'm getting. Well, you kind of get the idea. There's a reflection from the sun, but it's a montage of photographs of one of your
That
studio
was my
there.
studio in Ellensburg,
Yeah.
at the Derigold Milk Company.
There you go. Look at it.
And
I mean, it's pretty
someone
cool.
did an article about me and this montage, and they said, okay, we always used to wonder how you got so much work done. I mean, the volume of
Prolific.
work that you have sculpted is just phenomenal. And they said, now we know because there's 1, 2, 3, 4,
four of you.
5 of you.
That's good. Yeah. Of course I can get a lot
That's
done.
how it happens. That's the magic.
Yes, of course I can get a lot done. Now, this is interesting, this.
Yes, there's 3 of those.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's man laying out on rock
Yeah.
with petroglyphs.
Oh.
This other one is...
Let's get a picture of this if you don't mind pulling up this. This is your
right.
wedding.
This is the wedding.
Here we go. There we go. Oops. Let's go this way.
Where's the best
there,
light?
There we go. There we are.
There we are.
There they are. The stars.
Wow.
Your daughters and.
Yep, my daughters and us, Jane and me. Look
That's
at
great.
that.
All right, let me just do it this way too, just so I can be sure that we get this. There we go. That's even better. All right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yep, that was something.
That was something.
That was
That was something. These are from your Ellensburg days.
Yeah. So I had these 3 stone pieces. This was titled Man Emerging from Stone. I don't know where I came up with that idea, but man was coming out of the rocks. Then that went with it. These are all done in wood.
Oh, it is wood.
Yeah, there's no stone in it.
Oh, funny.
I had begun doing these wall sculptures when I lived in Maine that looked like stone, and big wall sculptures, but they were all wood. And I'd bring them to shows, and I even had geologists stumped that they say, no, this is some kind of granite. I go, no, I'd hand them a little rock that was made out of wood, and they go, oh, what is this? It's wood. So those were fun.
Let me touch that.
Era of my
Yeah, that is amazing.
And my dancer friend Reuben. Here's a picture of Reuben. That was Reuben when he was a dancer. He's the one that did the framing at the Frame Maker.
Oh,
and
that started it all.
had the gallery in
There we go.
Ellensburg. Well, he saw these three sculptures of mine and was inspired to do a dance piece. And so he did, I can't find it now. He did a dance movement called Stone Stories. And it was a performance for 9 dancers.
Yes.
He had an original music score done. This was performed in La Grande, Oregon at the college. And this
Oh,
was the
there we
t-shirt
go.
cover.
Oh, there we go. Stone Stories.
Stone Stories.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Wow.
And I did the set. The set
Of course you
was
did. Of course you did. And this is the original.
14 stones, some of them the size of a Volkswagen Beetle. And the whole dance movement happened around these stones that came down from above. It was a big panel, 5 sections, 20 feet tall, of stone cliff, all synthetic materials. And so the dancers came out between these crevices of those.
Oh, boy, I bet that was amazing.
And then these big stones came down from above, and they did this dance performance for this. It was really cool.
Quite a collaboration.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
A lot of work for a lot of people,
Yeah. Yeah.
and for 2 performances.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they've got it all recorded, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't done very well.
Oh,
It was not the best recording.
well, that's sad. And you made a mask here?
Yes. Yeah, that's a very weird mask. I made this many, many years ago out of cedar.
Oh, my God. Ooh,
Isn't that trippy?
that kind of makes you look,
Kind of weird, 'cause,
Kinda-
you know, your eyes can make all these different expressions, but the mouth never changes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably don't wear that to a children's party.
No, spook them all out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, this is different.
This is a very unique piece. It's one of my favorite paintings. It's called by Franz von Stuck. It's titled Sin, Die Suda. And it's at the Fry Museum. It's part of their permanent collection. And I used to visit the Fry often many years ago, and it inspired me to do this piece in homage to von Stuck. So we have the form done in clay, and then 4 different cultures of women.
Cultures?
Serpent, yep, there's Asian,
Oh, I see. Oh,
Indian, Caucasian, and Black African.
wow.
So 4 different cultures of females represented by von Stuck. So I like this piece because it represents my carving as well as my painting. And this technique of the,
Right.
it's actually what I call the fucked up process. Because when that night, when that happened in the studio, it was like, oh fuck. It was, oh, it was
My life is over as
earth-shattering.
I've known it.
Oh,
So here's
God.
another one of your,
Yes, now that's the type of wall sculpture that I used to do. This is all wood. This bird is wood. I mean, that's where I got really detailed. I was doing super detailed bird carvings.
yeah, I can see that, boy. Little tiny feathers.
Yeah, they really look real.
Yeah.
Yep.
And is this yours too?
Yep. There's a little faux batik.
Yeah, that's what it looks like is a batik. And I thought, did you do batik too?
Well, I got into encaustics when I did my book.
Look at this. That's really cool.
did my book, The Cat and the Coracle, I did all of these on silk.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So
Oh, and then you
Yep,
put
encaustic.
encaustic.
Yep.
Encaustic, get it.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, I did 24 illustrations of this style, where you put Gouda, it's called. It's a substance that squirts out and makes these fine lines, and then it creates a dam that you put your dye into.
I see. I see.
Yep. And then,
Kind of a reverse batik.
yep, exactly. It was a really interesting process. It took me over a year to do
To figure.
all those illustrations for the book.
Well, that's really neat.
It was fun to do, and it was just. Well, here's one of the books here.
Yes. Oh, let's
Captain
record
Coral.
that. Yeah, let's record that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm fortunate to have a copy of this.
And so all of these illustrations, every one of them were.
Oh, done that. And
Done
that.
in
Now,
that
now,
process.
now I know. You know, I didn't know how you did it, but now I do.
That's why it took so long to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was a cool process. And it was very fulfilling because I'd always wanted to do my own book. And that goes back to that guy.
Here, let me
David
see the back of
Carroll.
it too.
David, who was
So where can people get
really
this
meant
book?
to. Scott Milo
Okay.
keeps them on hand.
Okay.
Or here. But yeah, Scott Milo.
Or so you have them too that they can get them at Scott Milo or here.
Yep. Blackbird Singing in the Dead of Night.
Oh.
Another Beatle
Yes,
piece.
of course. You know, that's a quartz.
Yeah, the quartz crystal being the song.
Wow. Yeah. My goodness, I didn't even notice that. Oh, I see, it's a bird.
Centrifugal spin, bird evolving out of spiral. Kind of
Oh, it's very lyrical. It's very lyrical.
very lyrical, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, that was fun.
So to do you have to do that whole process
The whole
to
process.
get this.
Exactly.
Yeah, he has to do that process to
Yeah.
get any of this bronze work done.
Yeah, it's a very lengthy process. And this is a one of a kind, so there's only the one of them.
Well, it looks good against the dark.
Yeah.
It's good there. So can we take a walk out in your yard?
Yeah, let's do the garden.
Let's do that. I was looking for my sunglasses. Well, I don't need them.
Yeah, that's my other passion is gardening.
Which you do well. This is here. Let me just get a picture of this. Yeah, look at this.
Yeah.
This is the entrance to his studio.
Wow.
Do you ever just look at it yourself and go, "That's amazing"?
Once in a while.
Yeah, I'm amazing.
Look at this.
Look at this. Didn't even see these.
Yeah, there's art everywhere.
It really is. It's beautiful.
As much as I love it, I'd like to sell it.
You'd like to pass it on.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, here's your wolf.
Yep, the Wolf and Raven. That was a major piece done in Burwood. The original is at the National Wildlife Art Museum in Jackson Hole.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're safe.
I've got about 10 pieces in their collection too.
And what is it called again?
The National Wildlife Art Museum in Jackson, Wyoming.
There you go.
Yep. They have also my 13-foot monument, Magi Nation, which is there. I'm trying to get one located here in town. I really hope we can get one for the new event center when they get that done.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
'Cause it's an interesting local piece in that the original log that I carved it from was a maple tree that blew down in that big 1990 storm.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So the original sculpture was done in that log.
And what is this?
molded.
What is this called?
This is, what is this called?
Well, you don't need to remember. It's okay.
Rhapsody, I think it's Rhapsody.
No, she looks rapturous.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Sort of like a museum.
Well, kinda, it really is, yeah, exactly.
You don't have to worry about people stealing them though. They're really heavy.
That's true.
Yeah, which is nice.
There's always that concern.
Oh God, I hope not.
Yeah, you know, here again, I wouldn't be able to just do this anywhere. Here on Weymouth,
Exactly.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing's
You
gonna happen.
you had a piece up at the top of the mountain at one time.
Yes,
What happened with that?
someone took it.
I can't believe it because we saw it there, and then another time we went up and it wasn't there, and it was like, did somebody like desecrate it? I mean, it just felt wrong. I mean, obviously wrong.
Oh well, stuff happens.
Well, I'm sure it's being taken care of.
Yeah.
Walking.
Fortunately, it was done in plastic, so it wasn't
So this is I'm just walking along his garden. So Leo is creative, whatever he does, whether it's his shoes.
yeah, it could be that. I love this water. The birds come to that constantly because it's always flowing with water. It's got
Yeah.
a pump system that comes
Yeah,
in
we'll
through it.
walk around there. I don't even know what you call these.
The hollyhock.
Oh, there's a nice little
Yeah.
bee enjoying that hollyhock.
That's a weeping apple tree. Crab apple.
Oh, okay. And here's another.
Transformation.
Transformation. Oh, this is so sweet.
Those are the yellow legs. That was done in styrofoam also.
Yeah, now I can tell
Mm-hmm.
because
There
I'm
you go.
an expert now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Yeah.
That's very cool. Wow. And what do we have here?
I call this the dragon pond. It's an overflow from the larger pond. It comes down underground to here and then overflows out.
But you've got a flower in there. I mean,
Yeah, they're doing good.
yeah, they're doing really well. They like it.
This is another
Styrofoam.
Yeah. Yeah, this one you can really see that beaded look on it. They were fun to do. It was cool. Something different. It was unique.
So, Leo, what's this little house?
That is the well house.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
It doesn't look like our well house.
No.
Of course.
It's got a 1,000-gallon tank and all the apparatus.
This is another one of your caribou.
Yep.
Bet they like it out here.
Yes, year round. Absolutely. And
This is beautiful.
part of the series called Walking Prayers.
Wow.
I did all of these nymph figures in wood and then had them molded to bronze. And this was done back when bronze wasn't that expensive, not like it is today. These are solid bronze.
Yeah.
Would cost a fortune to get cast today. It would just be impossible.
It frames your, I don't know what bird that is. It frames your bird there.
Yes, Pomeroy.
Cormorant.
Shag is what commonly called it.
What do they call it?
Shag.
Shags.
Yep, this is the little shag, again done in the aluminum.
Oh, it looks perfect. Looks lovely. So, where did you find all your pedestals?
I just formed them and poured them out of concrete.
Oh, you made them yourself.
Yeah, they've really gotten some great patina.
Yeah, but
on them.
because they look like they came from some old building.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's cool. Well, they've been here 20 years, so
There you go.
they have a culture of their own growing. And this used to be our guest cottage until my gallery in Charleston, which was my major gallery, closed. And I had to bring all that work from Charleston to here. And
Oh, gee.
guest cottage became a little
A gallery.
cottage gallery.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, crazy, isn't it?
You guys, you really do know how to show stuff, though.
Wow. Crazy, so outrageous.
In a good way. Well, I gotta get this and then I'll get that.
Some of these were just, I think I had 9 pieces down at the Everett Art Center, Shack Art Center, for a show a couple months ago.
Oh, really?
So 9 of these pieces were part of that. That's the Still Not Listening piece that was done during the Valdez oil spill.
With
Toured the world, that piece.
All right, all right. Well, let me just. This is your little pieces. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Those are little cast resins.
Oh my goodness.
Those were done in Scotland.
In
I'd gotten a call from a company in Lower Scotland that did resin castings, and they wanted to cast my birds, so they brought me over. We spent 2 weeks in the studio
in Scotland?
in Scotland working out how to cast these and paint them. And they were really excited. I was really excited because there was going to be mass production and blah, blah, blah.
Okay, so this is your Valdez picture or sculpture.
Still
Wow.
not listening. So I got those.
Look at that bird.
It's about 2 weeks, 2 months after we formulated our plan in Scotland, the Chinese started doing resin casting and completely stole the business.
Oh my god.
So that didn't work out.
So that didn't well work out for them.
Yeah.
Is this a frog?
That is the prince of the pond. He's got a diamond crown.
Oh yes, agates, right?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
want to put my foot there so that they can see perspective there.
He's an old piece too.
An
In fact, it
oldie.
was that piece that I was showing in Tacoma when I came up to Guimas to meet.
To
my
meet
graphics.
Phil? Yeah.
Um,
Okay, I think he is adorable.
He's a sweetheart.
Yeah, he's a cutie pie. He just is a cutie pie. Okay, and
So I had the Still Not Listening piece. After it came back from Japan, I had it just in my studio for years and years and years. And then the Gulf spill happened. And I called a curator friend of mine, David Wagner, who did museum shows, and I said, David, I think it's time that Still Not Listening came out to the public again.
Yeah.
He agreed. So we got in touch with Bob Bateman and Ken Tolberg, who had also done pieces during the Valdez spill. And we each had the 3 works that were part of a show called Environmental Impact. And David found about 10 other artists to join us. And he sent that environmental impact show around the United States and Canada for about 5 years. So this piece was gone again
wow,
to many, many museums. And
traveling,
home.
traveling. Well, you know, hopefully you don't have to send it out again. You know, won't
One
happen.
more time. Just one more time.
Okay, just a small one,
That's
right?
the one I'm looking for. The sale.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, gosh.
And this is a little bird on
Golden plover on a shell. This is all wood, maple burl.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, it's called the Palace of the Golden Plover.
Okay. Look at that. Beautiful. Oh, that's a beauty.
Yeah.
That is a
she's
beauty.
The one that's out front.
It's what?
The same one that's out front.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks different.
See.
Well, maybe it's just because it's inside.
Yeah, different lighting.
Yeah. And look at this little guy.
Jeremy Fisher
What the heck?
from Beatrix Potter Stories. I did that for my daughter when she was little. And it broke, and she sent it back to me for repairs, and I repaired it, but I haven't sent it back to her yet because
Oh my gosh.
cobwebs all
It looks like you
over.
haven't had it
Looks
for a
like
while.
Been in here for a while. When was that? 2009. No, 1978 is when I did it.
1978.
1978.
1978.
Yeah,
So it's almost 50 years old.
yeah, yeah. My daughter was 4. And we were reading Beatrix Potter Stories.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, look at 'em. Jane would shit if she saw that.
This is beach glass.
That is done by Julie Prather.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is her,
Yep.
yeah,
This is her glass
stained
lamps.
glass. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Julie, thank you.
She was amazing.
Yeah.
She's still doing it. Still living in a little cottage.
Okay, we'll continue. Do you want to tell the story of these?
The dragon head,
Yep.
the bubble dragon.
Yeah. This is fantastic.
This is the same fountain that's working in the
Oh, yeah, I have to come around there. Called the what?
The walking prayers,
Okay.
all the series of nymphs.
Oh, gee.
In the 90s.
That you made those?
Yep. I was friends with a sculptor in Colorado, a few sculptors, one of which was named Charles. He was this old gay guy who was an amazing sculptor, wonderful man. And he had a little sculpture of mine. We'd traded work. And Charles was visited in his studio quite often by spirit beings. And one day, a Native American spirit joined him in his studio, and they were talking. And the Native American spirit saw my little sculpture, which was of a raven and wolf, and he said, Leo needs to be doing more work with the spirit. There's something else that he needs to be doing that he stopped doing. So Charles told me, kind of freaked me. And,
Yes, it would.
so I got thinking about it and meditating on it. And what I realized is I had stopped walking in the woods, which I used to do daily. So I began walking up the mountain trail. That was before we had the Guimas Trail. Walking up the mountain, and it was springtime. And on the hillside, there were like 20 young vine maples that had blown down, so that their branches were coming down the mountain slope. And as I looked at them, I saw these figures in the limbs, these female figures. And I thought, that's it. That's what I'm supposed to be working with. So I
So you got back in the woods.
got back into the woods
And-
and created a series of walking prayers that were done in wood and then cast in bronze. But I love them as this fountain because with one of them's hollow leg.
I was going to say, how do you get the water up there? Yeah. Okay.
Little pump in the pond. Water comes up through the hollow of
The hollow leg.
spills out into the bowl. Recycled. And
Wow.
the birds love it. We've got birds here year round all the time.
That's elegant. It's so elegant.
It's really fun. It's sweet.
Yeah. I love that.
We had about 30 crows.
They leave a mess though.
Oh, they can be messy. They
Because
really can.
they'd like to wash their food off in ours.
Yeah, I found snakes in
Yeah,
there.
yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, okay, guys.
So tell me about this walrus you got here.
That's Wally.
Wally the
Made out of
walrus.
Styrofoam, Wally the
Oh, he
walrus.
is.
Yep. Styrofoam covered with an epoxy resin, and then I did my
Let me see.
stippling to make it look like stone.
Let me see if I can get it closer here.
And the two tusks are made from cow horns.
Oh, okay.
Someone gave me those two cow horns decades ago, and I carried them all around with me, never knowing what I'd do with them. They became water.
I think that fountain is amazing. Do the other ones have the hollow leg too?
It does. It's
Look at that bird.
Ready to be installed.
Look at that bird.
Just need to find a
Yeah,
buyer.
yeah.
Yeah.
Look at your birds there.
springtime, summer breeze.
Well, I can see you can just sit out here and
Oh, yeah. It's just
enjoy
tranquil.
life. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the only thing that was here when we bought the place was a hole.
Was a hole?
Just a hole. No, they had intended to make a pond and never did. And so I finished it off.
Just getting a picture of that duck up there. And then you have a howling wolf,
I do have a coyote.
a coyote.
Yes. Moonrise coyote.
Well, this has just been beautiful, Leo. You have a treasure here.
Yeah, it really is.
It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, wonderful. Peaceful.